People, people, people. I would like to welcome you to Test Bug. I am Penguin,
And I am Sean.
and we are here in what could be the last game of the grand finals of the North American Zeke Weekly Tournament between CopperHertz and ClashPresto. The Master League Zerg is 2-1 up against his Grandmaster Protoss opponent, Sean.
Indeed, this is an upset in the happening, and we are here at a map embedded in the tradition of Blizzard Gaming, of StarCraft. This is a very, very old map. Was actually introduced, I think, in the original StarCraft, even before Brood War came out. I'm not sure about that. You might want to fact check me on that, but this was one of the original Icy Cup maps. Very, 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 very.
We're seeing a 10 pool out of ClashPresto, Sean. And
Thank you. Thank
once
you for
again,
saving me
this is
there.
the 5th different type of opening we have seen this Zerg do. He is absolutely everywhere with his ability to just switch up his tactics. One thing I do want to note about this map is that as Zerg and
Pylon at
as
the natural.
yes, there is a pylon at the natural, and there will be a forge fast expand once again.
Yo.
Yes, I don't see this being very good for CopperHertz against this 10 pool opening. And I do want to talk a bit about the map though. There are 3 of these gold expansions that also for once they have rich Vespian geysers as well, which allow you to harvest. I believe it's 7 gas per. No, that's the minerals. It's 5 or 6 gas per.
I think it's 6. It's got to be 6. 6 or 6
Yes,
or 7.
6. It's a really huge advantage with gas as well. There's also destructible rocks here. The way you can do things here though with these destructible rocks is that you can actually expand before knocking down the rocks though. That's the interesting thing about the way those are placed.
Indeed. Now, what is very, very interesting about this map is that there is also it is a 3-player map, which means that there are 3 spawn points, which makes it easier to scout your opponent, but at the same time, it's kind of lopsided in that there is no such thing as a close spawn or cross spawn. Everything is close spawn and everything is cross spawn. It is like a triangle. It is the Triforce of maps.
Definitely, Sean. And one of the other things about this map is that
Oh no, losing 2 links
ooh,
there.
that was
Slight miss, my goodness.
not a good run in by not a good attempted run by ClashPresto. But one of the things that's also interesting about this map is that with the exception of the middle Zelnaga Watchtower, the rest are all covered in destructible debris, destructible rocks rather. And well, this one's destructible debris, whatever. You can actually do pretty well by knocking those down and getting map vision, but you also have to be very careful knowing that your opponent can also use them. So there's a lot that goes into the timing of getting those destructible rocks down. Additionally, these little rocks here that you see sort of lining the expansions, these show how far the vision of the Zelnaga Watchtowers go. So if you are trying to hide anything, you know exactly where your opponent will be able to start seeing it in the event that he has the towers.
Indeed it will. Now we see the expansion going down for ClashPresto. In a very, very good position. He can actually afford to just be a little bit more laid back, a little bit more. This is a double match point for him, so he does not have so much on the line. Meanwhile, CopperHertz has to make something happen, opting for a probe completed wall off. Actually, this is actually a full-on wall off, and he has this pylon at the front where he can warp out units. And I feel like CopperHertz are really playing very prudently, even locking his probe out of his natural.
Definitely trying to bait that Zergling in with the probe. But one of the things that we do notice here is that ClashPresto is already going to be knocking down the rocks to his gold expansion. And one of the things I like to do as somebody who does like the color golds, I like to take a very early expansion on this map at one of the golds because you can just get so much done from that, and it's not the hardest thing to defend either.
Indeed, it is not. But I guess the real object is the real problem that you would have is being able to expand to the gold in the first place, having to knock down those rocks and getting to it. That takes a bit of map control. But once you have the map, once you have that point of the map, it's very, very easy to defend. At the same time, it does also depend on your spawning locations, because if you will take a look, it is slightly easier to access, if I'm not mistaken, it is slightly... Oh, actually, no, this map is very well designed, such that it is an equal distance to all golds from all spawn points.
Yes, Sean, that is in fact true. And I was going to say so. Oh yes, there is a lair coming up for ClashPresto. which with
Very
him,
early there. I
if
don't know if
he's
that's
planning on grabbing that third base with the rich Vespian geysers, I wouldn't be surprised to see an early Spire out of him and some pretty large Mutalisk harass as well. Because being able to have 6 gas and two of those being rich Vespian geysers, that's a lot of gas income.
indeed. Now that does bring me to a comment I have on a lot of players who tend to get that lair tech really quickly when it really doesn't need to be up that quickly. As long as you're capitalizing on it, I guess that's okay. But at the same time, really take a look at your play, take a look at your games, and ask yourself, do I really need to get that lair tech that quickly? Because we have seen some very fast lair tech from ClashPresto in situations where I really don't think warranted it all that much.
Sean, we are going to be seeing a 7-gate out of CopperHertz. A relatively safe
Oh
build
no.
for Protoss versus Zerg. It's a very powerful build, and it's very, very difficult to counter, although this kind of map with this sort of choke at the natural makes it a little bit easier, but it'll be very interesting to see whether or not ClashPresto will be able to hold this, or whether CopperHertz will take an equalizing game 4.
Absolutely, and I can't disagree with you on that. That is absolutely true, and I guess we're going to see the push now and see if it can do any damage. However, actually, Clash Presto opting to stay on 2 bases, and he has very, very good Overlord scouting, and I think he knows exactly what's coming, and he's got so many spine crawlers building. Oh my God, I think he might hold this.
I think you are right, Sean, especially with so many sentries. They don't do all that much damage with their tickle noodles, but they do. And this
The only
spire that is going up, I don't
sentries
see him. I don't actually know where the spire is, but I don't really see him utilizing the spire all that much because sentries are in fact anti-air, and he is getting 2 Mutalisks just to prove me wrong. He will
I
be
think
supply
I think
blocked
the
though.
main thing about sentries is that they're very good at mobility denial, and
That is very true,
let's face
Sean.
it, that's an advantage taken away entirely by the fact that there are so many spines, which basically means that the sentries will be able to help against the lings, but by force fielding himself against the lings, if the lings are microed properly, he will actually be forcing himself to engage directly against the spines. So that's actually a really double-edged sword with those sentries.
Definitely, Sean, and he does have these 5 spine crawlers up at the front, and that is incredibly
The
good as far
five
as
crawler
defense
poke
goes.
squad poking
He is going to
away,
be
and
pulling
it's
all of
going to
his
get a sentry
drones.
kill. It is going to do a lot of damage, but it's spreading out its damage really
He
way too
did pull
evenly.
all of his probes and all of his drones, and I didn't like that decision from him. More Mutalisks are going to be spawning, and I just don't think there are enough Stalkers here to deal with this. The force fields going down. Force fields are going to be very, very good, but those Mutalisks obviously not going to be affected by those at all. More Mutalisks
Oh
streaming in as
gosh,
well, and it
two
looks like he might
Mutalisks here on
hold.
the field, and I feel like his push has just been thwarted.
I would agree, Sean. I mean, obviously he's able to
Continuing
warp
with
in.
it, getting more stalkers, that is a very good choice, but the muta count just going to keep increasing, going to keep getting lings, because of course, when you get mutas, it is so easy to just make lings and mutas.
CopperHertz having almost 800 minerals in the bank, whereas ClashPresto is doing
Is he
very,
going
very
to snipe
well.
the pylon? He
He
gets
does
the
snipe the
pylon.
pylon, and that is absolutely devastating for CopperHertz. He will not be able to have another forward pylon here.
Oh my
And the Lings are
goodness.
going to
And
wrap around, doing their best to trap.
not
Looks like
quite
he'll be
able
able
to
to clean this
track
up very well.
what the mutaling is supposed to do. The lings tank the damage while the mutas just dole it out, doling out the harshness, killing so much. And the zealots and stalkers not doing any damage whatsoever except for killing some measly lings. And quite honestly, with the rocks broken down at the gold, look at that, the hatchery getting ready to be placed. You can see the little outline, and honestly, like, he's getting that gold down, and he does not have the units to defend his own expansion. In fact, the creep spread might actually reach the gold before he manages to knock down the
Huh.
rocks.
Wow, big surprise there. The rocks are already knocked down. The Lings did very, very well to knock those down early on. Oh, there's going to be another engagement by the pylon. He will snipe the pylon, but that's not looking like it was a very good engagement for Clash
One
Presto
thing,
there. Did lose a
one
lot
thing
of
to note,
mutas.
the third player is behind on upgrades. He is only now getting his melee attacks and flyer attacks level 1, which will help him, but at the same time, the Protoss gateway units are on 1-1 already, which is going to set them really rather far ahead against their Zerg opponents. So
Definitely,
it's
Sean,
really
and we're seeing these spines doing absolutely massive damage against their opponents.
goodness,
One
just
spine crawler
shutting
is going
down
to be
this
sniped, but
attack.
one spine crawler is going to be sniped, Sean. But altogether they are averaging, I think, over 10 kills between the 4 of them.
And I'll tell you something. Copper Hertz, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place because this is the point where you're so far behind. You have to be putting aggression, but he doesn't have the unit count to be putting on that aggression. I feel like a Warp Prism would be his best option here. I think he needs to load some Zealots up into Warp Prism and do some serious damage. And oh my God,
There's the
GG.
GG, Sean. I do actually think like that was a bit of a premature GG. He did have the probe lead, and while he was losing, I feel like he could have come back with a bit of superior macro, superior droning. But congratulations to our champion ClashPresto, and that has been a fantastic upset, 3-1 over the Grandmaster representative Copper Hertz.
Absolutely. And I feel like Copper Hertz, he just got outplayed, and I think that's a humbling experience. And Copper Hertz, a really nice guy, a really mannered guy. I feel like he's just gonna take that as, wow, this guy's really good, and I just lost that. And I feel like Copper Hertz really did play well. We really did play very well, but ClashPresto pulling a rabbit out of a hat, pulling that upset off.
Congratulations to our champion, ClashPresto. Congratulations to Copper Hertz on pulling out a fantastic tournament, a fantastic run. Did take game one, but was not able to capitalize on
Didn't
it
hold the
and
signal.
did lose. And I have been Penguin,
I have been Sean.
and thank you very, very much for tuning into this week's Zeke Weekly. And we hope to be doing this again sometime. Am I right, Sean?
You absolutely are. We will see you guys next time.
Bye bye.